Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Hump Day. Love you too. Look at that cat's hodgepodgery. Can't read today. What up, near camp? She said, I'm listening while working. Finally caught alive again. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I think we have another. Here we go. Wanda Green, member for 14 months. Love you, Wanda. So glad you are here. Now, I know that what's buzzing on the streets is not about Harmony, but I'm never going to stop on Harmony's case. Never, 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 never. And I know you all won't either. Never going to happen. I've had a lot of people reach out to me. You've seen it on the community tab, and not about nonsense that's going on, but about real things. Like Fun to Ski, who's been a member for 22 months. Love you, Fun to Ski. Look at that. There's Connie. Connie Fielden, not the other Connie. We don't need to worry about that. Member for 24 months. Love you, Connie. Saying that with this new search they're doing for Harmony, it could be that Adam is in jail talking. Mermaid in a wine glass is back. What's up, girlfriend? What's up? Chrissy said, I love that we are talking about Harmony. Me too. Now, I've got a little bit of a cold, okay? Just a little teeny one. So if I mute myself, it's because I have to sneeze, blow my nose, or, well, you know the routine with OJ. You know how it goes. So first, let's go through. We know what today is. It is Hump Day. We wear pink on Wednesdays. Ignore the model, but if you would like to have your own We Wear Pink on Wednesday shirt, well, you know where to get it. Also, today on discount, we have bitch spray. I think I'm going to start taking stock out into this. Kills 99.9% of those bitches. It eliminates hoes. My goodness. My goodness. I think we all need a little shot of that in our lives. But let's first talk about Hump Day.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's Hump Day.
Woo-hoo!
It's Hump Day. And Sonia Allen, thank you for the super sticker. My goodness. We're only 5 minutes into the show, and you guys are really hitting it a home run. Angel P said, weird, I can't see Mermaid. She has a new avatar. Say hi, Mermaid. She's got a new avatar. What do we wear on Wednesdays? OJ's got his on.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
No. Not really my sort of thing.
Patty Dennis, good morning. I hope they find that baby girl. I do too. There is going to be some issues with finding her, and those issues are the obvious. Paper Slut, are you wearing pink? Paper Slut was in here earlier saying that I'm bullying him. Paper Slut, who's bullying you? Who's bullying Paper Slut? Woo! Dang it, Paper Slut. That joke has stayed around because it was a typo of mine. Look at that. He said, whistling innocently. Good morning, Bear Diney. Nicey Marie has made it back in. So glad you guys are here. Again, finding Harmony is going to be a challenge. Now, remember, her father is in jail. I mean, of course, we know all of his gun charges. We also know he's in jail for the murder of Harmony Montgomery. And I don't fret anybody for continuing to find her. It might be a t-shirt. It might be a bag. It might be a bone. I don't know. But this is Kayla's statement. Harmony's body moved into CMC maternity bag. Kayla stated that at some point after Harmony's body was in the refrigerator, Adam transferred Harmony's body from the Under Armour duffel bag into a new bag. Kayla stated that this happened in the bathroom. Kayla stated that on the day in question, Adam spent 4 to 6 hours inside of the bathroom at the Union Street apartment with the shower running. Kayla then described Adam as placing Harmony's dead body inside of what she described as a Catholic Medical Center maternity bag. This bag was much smaller than the Under Armour duffel bag, and it would not likely fit if Harmony's body, unless it was dismembered or grossly distorted, she wouldn't have fit in there. Kayla described an odor coming from the bathroom and saw steam coming from the bathroom when Adam would open the door. Kayla recalled the scent of cleaning supplies in the bathroom when Adam had finished up. Kayla stated this afterwards. Adam placed the CMC maternity bag inside of the, what is that word? This is blurry, and I have my glasses on. Oh, inside of the freezer at 644 Union Street. She described the refrigerator as a standard over-under. Now, we do know they took a refrigerator. I don't care what Jennifer Coffendaffer says. Okay, she's not an appliance salesman. So I think you get the gist of what I'm talking about, why it's going to be so hard to find Harmony. She was in an Under Armour bag. Okay. She was in the red cooler you can see on the screen. You see the measurements of the CMC bag. That's not a very big bag. I'd have a hard time just getting OJ, the fake Bombay, into it. But he spent a lot of time in that bathroom, 4 to 6 hours with the shower running. Had to call the maintenance man. We do know this bed at the homeless shelter, the vent above it, Harmony was up in that vent to the point that other people that were in the shelter complained about the smell. The smell, my friends, the smell. And this was all from him murdering Harmony in the back seat, and says to Kayla, I did something this time. This time. I did something this time. And as they're getting their Burger King and chomping down on their Chris sandwich and their little potato rounds, getting their ketchup together, making sure the baby's in the back next to a dying Harmony or eating, then Harmony is put into the Under Armour bag into the trunk. This has all been verified by investigators, and Adam will be in jail for the rest of his natural life. From there, they went over to some apartments and they got loaded up on the rugs. Because we know that they were living in the car. So they went over there and they got loaded up. They had quite the buffet of the rugs, if you know what I mean. Now, we did have one person in here when we were talking about it several months ago that had a huge fit and had to get out and say, well, I'm an ex-addict, so I know I'm not welcome here. Nothing that we talk about on this channel is directed at any of you. We're talking about a case. I do wonder, considering where they're searching, and Kayla is out of the pokey, which let me tell you what, that's a tough one to stomach. It truly is. If she hasn't said something to someone, obviously the investigators believe her that Adam did not tell her where Harmony was. But she's out of jail. I am shocked that she hasn't reoffended. I'm absolutely shocked she hasn't reoffended. All right, from my community tab, let's take a second and let's go through some of your comments because you all had a lot to say about Teardrop and step meth. All right, posted a few days ago about the new search. Muddy Winch said maybe the law should be eye for an eye, and if the perp refuses to assist to return who they stole, then eye for an eye should be initiated with an early date for completion. He should be shown the same compassion he showed his daughter. Woo! I don't disagree. Exotic Prairie, love that name. They should have never given a deal to Kayla unless she revealed where Harmony was. She knows. Do you all think Kayla knows where Harmony's at? Or do you think she just held it over their heads to get that sweet deal she got? Who in here thinks Kayla knows where he put Harmony? I still want to know about the people he was with that day. Claire Johnstone said, of course she knows. Susan says no. Snow says she knows. Mama B said she sure does. I don't know. Harley Dragon's Moon said he needs to say where he put her. It's so sad that he won't say where she is. Exactly. Dude, they've already sent you down the river. No pun intended. You did it to yourself. Why don't you just go ahead and tell them? They confronted you in court, but you were still defiant. You knew exactly where you put her. You know that she's been dismembered. You know how many areas she's been in. The refrigerator at the Econo Lodge. The freezer at the Union Street apartment. The cooler at Kayla's mom's house. The CMC bag. The Under Armour bag, the trunk, up in the ceiling. I know I'm missing some. You've got to be kidding me. Why don't you just go ahead and do one thing right for your baby girl and say, this is where I put her? If they just find something, there is some closure for the people that care. Chrissy said, Kayla said, he was paranoid. Yeah. Because he said, I don't want you to be able to say where she's at. It's kind of part of his control. It's kind of like when Stacey Wandera was on the show. Or when I was talking to him on the phone. And he said, no body, no case. No body, no case. I think that's kind of what Adam was thinking. He didn't realize that there's people on this planet that understand the criminal mind. And they also understand evidence. Evidence. And this could be Mustang Mama. She said, I was under the impression that her remains were thrown into multiple trash dumpsters. That could be. because he doesn't seem to be worried about giving up any location. He doesn't. All right, let's look at the new search they're doing right now. Now, this is not an official law enforcement search. And as much as I do not like Crystal Sorey, I'm not going to give her too much hell today. I'm just not. Because if she is really out there looking for Harmony, then, well, I'm going to try to be nice. But I would take Adam at his word when he says you're wasting your time looking for her. I really would. That's just me, though.
I hope that what he did plays over in his mind every single waking moment that he lives on this earth. And I hope that he never falls asleep without seeing her beautiful face.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I do. I'm agreeing with Crystal. I hope both him, Teardrop, and Stepmeth are in a prison of their own. A prison of their own mind. That when they close their eyes to go to sleep, they see Harmony. I truly hope what they did, witnessed, covered up, transported, the whole kit and caboodle, I hope every time they close their eyes at night, they remember that moaning sound that the beautiful little girl made as her soul was leaving her body, as the breath stopped coming into her lungs. Petty Kitty, she said, love you, Brooks. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for all you do, girlfriend. Look at that, member for 3 months.
Welcome back. This morning, we're shining a spotlight on the continued search for the remains of Harmony Montgomery. The 5-year-old disappeared back in 2019, and volunteers combed through the Rumney Marsh Reservation in Massachusetts on Saturday morning to try to find any signs of the child's remains. The search was organized by Harmony's biological mother, Crystal Sorey, who spoke to NBC 10 Boston on why this particular area was key to explore.
This area is part of where he went in U-Haul. They had, cameras, and they tracked the mileage in the U-Haul that he went. And there's 23 miles that he went back and forth from the Tobin Bridge all the way out to here. So we are, that's why I chose this area, because I don't really think he would go into the marsh, you know what I mean? I think it would be more like parking lot area, outskirts, even like walking in and just chucking into the woods type thing. I think that he would choose a big area that's...
Okay, so Crystal gets it. I think he would choose a big area, but the way she says, chucking out, it's because she knows this. She knows this. She knows Harmony was dismembered. She knows. It was testified. 4 to 6 hours in the bathroom. Steam coming out from under the door when he would open the door, probably to go get a sandwich. As he's in there dismembering Harmony, probably had to come out and get something to eat and drink.
Difficult, but also he was a lazy criminal, you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that I'm on the right track. I'm trying to go with my intuition, and this is where I felt.
Okay, now I have to disagree with Crystal. I don't think he's a lazy criminal at all. I think he was years ahead of the police. But it took Jameson asking for his sister over and over and over and over again to get the attention. And the men that adopted Jameson started hounding on Crystal. Where's Harmony? Where's Harmony? Where's Harmony? Where's Harmony? Where's Harmony? So he is, well, criminals have different degrees of criminal behavior. Some are really good at it. Adam is a lifelong card-carrying member of the criminal world. He is. He is. He's still a suspect. A suspect in a murder in Lynn, Massachusetts. Angel P, look at that. She just gifted 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Y'all get your umbrellas. Thank our girl Angel P if you were gifted. So glad you all are here, and thank you again, Angel P.
It was important to start.
Yeah, he is a lazy criminal, as she said. Adam Montgomery, Harmony's father, convicted of murdering her. That conviction happening just recently, and he's serving prison probably for the rest of his life for all of his crimes. He's got some gun crimes as well, and he's been no help in finding his beautiful daughter. So will investigators, searchers ever be able to bring Harmony's remains home? Let's bring in a very special guest now. She's a retired juvenile court judge and the author of the book, A Cruel Injustice, about Harmony's case. The Honorable Carol Erskine is with us this morning.
The minute she said retired, I thought, please don't tell me Jennifer Coffindaffer is popping up. Please. I will say this about old Jen Koff. She seems to make more sense on her own channel as opposed to being on News Nation. Just something I observed. Now, I wasn't aware there was a book out. Has anyone read the book? I really wish that the prosecutors or the powers that be would take it one step further, and instead of just having a governor's conference about what went wrong, I wish they would hold the social workers. Well, you really can't hold them responsible because Crystal wouldn't return their calls. That's part of the governor's report in New Hampshire. But what about the judge? You see, to be a judge, you have to have good judgment. You have to have good judgment. Why not prosecute his ass? I'm so tired of these high and mighty people not getting their hands slapped. But the rest of us, we get hit with a $150 ticket for walking across the street wrong. True story.
Morning. Good morning, Judge. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Good morning, Julie. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Just share with us first your thoughts, Judge. You know, just as a person, just watching on the news, seeing these search efforts going on for little Harmony, when you've got such close ties to this case, what's going through your mind?
Well, I think I'm happy to see that people aren't giving up on Harmony. You know, to have these searchers out there and to have people looking along the Rumney Marsh where Adam Montgomery likely disposed of Harmony's remains somewhere along there. It's good to see that people aren't giving up on Harmony, at least those folks. Unlike lawmakers in Massachusetts who essentially have given up by not even putting into legislation and enacting the Harmony Commission to investigate the case and what went wrong. At least there are people out there who haven't forgotten her. So I'm happy to see it, but I have to be honest and say that for this man who carried her remains around in trash bags and coolers, and then in the final tote bag, that I don't have a lot of hope that her remains will be found.
Right, Judge. And you put that really well. We heard the horrifying evidence in the case.
Horrifying is an understatement. Horrifying is an understatement. I don't know what made me more sick to my stomach. Was it the trial we went through of Harmony Montgomery, or was it the trial we went through of Gannon? Because both, the devil is broken down into details for all of us as to how nasty people can be, how negligent, how abusive, horrible. And by the way, there's no competition, nothing like that. Who the hell and goes and gets some kitchen utensils and spends 4 to 6 hours in a bathroom after you've been toting her around for months? After, right next to your other 2 children and your POS wife, stepmeth, in the front seat because you're living in the car, all had to witness what he did. And mark my words, Kayla will get in trouble again. She can't stay out of it. She can't. It's not an Adam problem. It's not an ex-husband problem. It's a Kayla problem. It's a stepmeth problem.
About how he was abusing little Harmony's corpse and trying to, make her disappear, essentially, with various means in the bathtub of one of the places where they were living. And as you said, to the tote bag. And we heard Harmony's biological mother reference the tote bag. There's been quite a bit of time that's passed as well. And we have the defendant, the monster's own statements. We got him on jail calls, essentially saying that investigators wasted their time. Let's go back and take a listen to some of what Adam Montgomery has said about the search for Harmony.
Adam, Teardrop, as we call him around here, makes it clear you're wasting your time by looking for her. You're wasting your time. Now remember, he's going to serve the rest of his natural life for one thing or another in the pokey. I still have a lot of questions about people that suddenly died around Adam, like his father that was supposed to testify of an overdose, like Kelsey Smalls, his ex-girlfriend that was living in the car with him at the Walmart in New Hampshire that suddenly died of an overdose.
Really just really taxpayer money, I guess. Because just think about how much money that you're wasting and effort. I think you're trying to overthink, okay, I understand that.
It's hard to hear, and they didn't clean it up really good, but listen to what he is saying. The way he's talking to these investigators that are trying to find Harmony. They know at this point they're not going to find her alive. But listen to him, how he's preaching about taxpayer dollars. How much in taxes do you think this POS has paid? These people waste our taxpayers' dollars. Every one of you in here, it's people like Adam that are wasting taxpayers' dollars. We're feeding him. We're making sure he has cable TV. We're making sure he has a bed. We're making sure he has 3 square meals. But listen to him. You're wasting your time. You're wasting taxpayer dollars. I get you're trying to prove a case, but you're wasting your time. That's what he thinks of his daughter.
Yeah, it's very clear, Judge, isn't it, that this guy, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And this is his beautiful daughter. It's a crying shame that he had custody of her. And you know so much about this. You presided over the adoption for Harmony's half-brother, Jameson. They share the same mother, Crystal Sorey, and Jameson, thank goodness, is living the best life ever with Blair and Jonathan Miller, and I know you're very close to them. And you got to see how, unfortunately, Harmony wasn't able to have the same chance at life because of Adam Montgomery asserting his parental rights. Would you talk to us a little bit about what you called this cruel injustice and how the system put her in this monster's hands?
Right. It was, as you listen to the phone call, you know, you can really just hear the evil in his voice. And that's what makes me worry. The fact that he's mocking the searchers, it makes me worry that her remains won't be found. But what happened in Massachusetts was just a case of reckless indifference to the needs of Harmony throughout her time in DCF custody. They didn't meet her needs. And then, of course, the trial, if you want to call it a trial, which lasted about 6 hours, ending with custody to him, was really more like a pretense of a trial, as lawyers in the case each separately took the position, not the DCF lawyer, but the lawyers representing parents and Harmony, each separately had a position that Harmony should be with this man who only had seen her literally 20 times in her entire life. And when he saw her, he had to be monitored by a social worker. They wouldn't even let Harmony be with him alone during these 1 or 2 hour visits because they were so concerned about the fact that he hadn't really complied with most of the services. So it's an alarming story. And yes, I'm going to tell it very soon. But when you have a child who at 4 years of age is supposedly telling her lawyer that she wants to be with this man that she barely knew, as opposed to her mother, who she had been with at times, it's just a stunning story. And I'll tell you straight out, it's a story that Massachusetts lawmakers and governmental officials don't want me to tell.
Okay, this lady is badass. She's flat out saying they don't want me to tell this story. They don't want me to talk about the loopholes, the bureaucratic red tape. They don't want me to talk about it. Now, in my opinion, Crystal shouldn't have any kids with her either. She shouldn't. Not until she gets her stuff together. It is a huge problem with the system, as they say. I'll say why. Because it's money, 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 money. So, hey, who cares if Adam's getting food stamps? Who cares if Adam's getting this, or that for Harmony? Who cares? Because it's much more expensive to put her in foster care. The biggest heartache in this case, besides the obvious, is that Jameson's fathers wanted to adopt her too. Now, I might be in the minority here, but I believe Crystal could have prevented this. I believe she could have been at that hearing. And I know people will argue and they will say no, because she had to be at the adoption hearing for Jameson. Jameson's fathers have already made it clear she didn't need to be at Jameson's hearing. Everything was already done. It was a formality. It was a formality. That's it. And here they have the food stamps on all the kids, and they're trading them for rugs. You know what I mean, because it's YouTube land. Might as well be Sesame Street the way they want me to talk. She could have stopped this.
They don't want Blair and Jonathan to tell it. They don't want to hear their side of the story. And right now, the budget in Massachusetts has been approved by the governor, and our request to have a commission look at this has not been approved by lawmakers. So it's really distressing to know how Harmony was so mistreated in Massachusetts, so many mistakes. so many acts of reckless indifference, and still nothing. They just want to put Harmony in the rearview mirror in Massachusetts. And it's a stunning story about just the neglect that she had to suffer at the hands of the Massachusetts child protection system. What I write about in the book is I have a chapter or a discussion called Expendable. And in my view, that's how they viewed Harmony in Massachusetts, as simply being expendable.
That is...
And this is so common, and I'm so glad this woman's talking about it. Expendable, meaning you're talking about a child that comes from 2 drug addict parents. She's not going to have a chance anyway. So what we have to do, since they're considered expendable children, is save as much money as we can. Sure, go back to your daddy. Go ahead. Addicts raise kids every day, don't they? That's what they say. GB said, I read on a People magazine a while back, Kayla wants to visit him in prison. I read that in another article too. I'd have to find which one it is. Does she not understand that felons don't get to hang around the jail, and that's what she is? And then look at that. Who got a membership? If you received a membership from Rexy, you better give her a big old hug and kiss on the cheek, my friends. My goodness, you have no idea what's happening around here. You just received a gift.
It is just, it's beyond heartbreaking. I think many of our viewers, all around the world just fell in love with this precious child. And it's just such a shame that she didn't have a chance. She just never stood a chance for many of these reasons that you're citing, Judge. And we want to hear your story. We want to hear the story on Court TV when you release the book. Cannot wait to read it. And please, as you get closer to the release date, let us know, Judge. Come back on the show. We'll dig in deeper and hear some more of Harmony's story, because we certainly want to keep her memory alive. Judge Carol Erskine, you're the best. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Okay, the judge that's got the book coming out, I apologize, I thought it was already out, needs to be really careful, because when people call out certain things that happens in the government, they have strange accidents, or they're no longer considered employable. It's horrible. Horrible. But back to the search. This is going to be a huge problem. Now, remember, we've already had a trial. We know, because investigators have verified everything. So if Kayla said this happened at the Burger King, they've already got their cell phone records. They have everything. They can verify that they went over to the apartment. They've talked to people at the homeless shelter that said, we could smell it. We could smell something. They had people on the stand that worked at the pie company where she was in the refrigerator. They have verified that he purchased a grinder and lime. Now, what the hell would he need a grinder for at an apartment? It's not exactly like he's a woodworker.
Proximity to this transaction, we requested lime purchases from Home Depot.
Was that a specific Home Depot, or was it multiple Home Depot locations?
We requested multiple Home Depot locations.
And with respect to State's Exhibit, what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 92, is that reflected in State's Exhibit 92?
I haven't fully looked through this.
Oh, please do.
I just did the back page, sorry. Is there papers in here?
There are.
Oh, okay, so there's more in there. Yes. There's multiple locations on here.
Okay. Which locations do you see?
Merrimack, Manchester, Hooksett, Londonderry, and Concord.
During the course of your... Did you have an opportunity to review those documents once they were received?
Yes.
And that was during the course of your involvement in this investigation? Yes. And do you recall when those items were received from Home Depot?
We requested them on in August of 2022, and we received them about a month later.
What specifically were investigators looking for with respect to the purchases?
We were looking for line purchases
Why were you looking for line purchases?
due to a statement made by Kayla Montgomery.
A statement made by Stepmeth. They were looking for lime purchases. Obviously, she was telling the truth because, well, they found where the grinder was purchased and all the other things. They figured it out. You see, just because someone tells the police something, let's just say, well, look at that lady in Boston's here. She said, Adam will never tell. I agree, but you know the word on the streets. Glad you're here, honey. Let's just say, okay, I walk into the police department right now and say, hey, you know that old boy that's been missing around Tulsa all this time? I'm the one that did it. I did it. They'll be like, okay, give me some details. Give me some details. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Well, they have to investigate it. Then they're going to say, no, you're crazy. You're crazy. You weren't in that area. We don't see anything. So even with it being Stepmeth, they had to investigate all of her statements, which were all lined out in the trial.
And I asked you to look at the last page of that material, the packet that's in front of you. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, so this is the receipt from a transaction at Home Depot on March Ave.
I'm just going to ask you to turn to the TV monitor behind you. Is that consistent with what you're looking at, the papers that you have?
Yes.
What is that?
It's a receipt.
And I want to talk about the receipt. You mentioned the ATM transaction at 11:20 in the morning on February 26th of 2020. What is the date and time of this Home Depot transaction?
11:42 a.m.
That's roughly 22 minutes after.
Correct.
And I want to discuss the amounts. Does that receipt tell you the amounts?
Yes.
Can you just quote them out to the jurors?
Yes. It was $396.35.
And it says cash there.
Yes.
What that means?
So the transaction was paid with cash, $400 in cash.
Now, mind you, these are people that are broker than a donkey's dick, okay? Broke. But he has $400 cash to buy limestone. I don't know what that thing is for $199. A diamond blade and a fuel grinder. That's a lot of money. Lady in Boston said, I drove over the Tobin Bridge last weekend. I was sick to my stomach thinking about Harmony. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. You want to hear something that's really going to turn your stomach? From people that we can trust. You know old Adam? Teardrop. Women are writing him letters. Can you all imagine? I would love to have copies of those letters. What would you even say to Teardrop? Now, is it women reaching out? Because you know it's women. You know it is. Is it women reaching out saying, please tell us where Harmony is? Or is it, I love you, Teardrop. I don't think you did anything wrong. We've seen it in other chats. We've seen it. It's crazy. The way they fall for these men is beyond gross.
What's your understanding of the size of the lime bag that was purchased?
It was a 40-pound lime bag.
40 pounds?
Yes.
And what additional items were purchased during that transaction?
So there was a Milwaukee M18 fuel grinder, which is also known as an angle grinder, size 4.5 blade. There was also a Diablo 4.5 blade purchase and an M18 Milwaukee battery.
So Detective Rahill, I'm handing you.
I'm going to read this comment real quick. Nicey Marie, she said, oh goodness, who will want to write to him? Oh goodness, don't tell Kayla. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Because as she said, she's his ride or die. She's not going anywhere. Well, she did go somewhere. Because as they kept pulling her ass out of the cell and sitting her down saying, we got to figure this out. Because this little girl didn't just go poof. Somebody knows what happened to her. Somebody knows. Snow said a mouthful. Women with daddy issues. They do. Then they have husband issues. They got all kinds of issues. And the rest of us have to sit there and deal with it. OJ, you're making a lot of noise. Calm down over there. Calm down.
What's been published as State's Exhibit 63. Do you recognize this item?
Yes.
And is this consistent with what is represented on that receipt?
Yes.
Was there a specific item number associated with the limestone?
Yes.
And what is it, if you can read it from the receipt there?
So it's 4 zeros, and then it's 221104.
And again, the jury's heard that's an item number specific to that item.
Yes.
So, Detective Rahill, I'm showing you what's been published as State's Exhibit 62. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors what it is?
So this is a screenshot of lime bags that are sold at Home Depot that was presented to Kayla Montgomery during our third proffer with her in March of 2023.
Oh, that word. That word. Proffer. I've got another word for it. It's called making a deal with the devil. See, I've gotten a lot of heat for people I've had on this show. And they're like, why would you talk to that person? Why would you talk to that person? Why would you talk to that person? Well, I'm not an investigator. I'm not law enforcement, but I can tell you right now that the men in blue have to do it every day. Because you see people that do the right thing, well, they do the right thing. So when you're investigating a homicide, let's say, you're not going to find any salt of the earth genius to just spit out the facts. All that circle them All that circle them are TRASH. Trash. So they have to make all those deals with them saying, hey, look, I'm going to forget about this. Hey, I never heard this. Never heard it. Don't worry about it. Because this is what I really need from you.
The item that I just showed you states Exhibit 62. If you can just turn to the monitor behind you. Is that what's reflected on the monitor?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of presenting this to Ms. Montgomery?
To figure out what lime that might have been used in the disposal of Harmony.
Without saying what she said, was a bag indicated?
Yes.
And can you point the bag out that's indicated?
Yeah.
That was indicated that day.
Yes.
You didn't say. Now, you talked about a specific item number. Is that present on this item?
Yes, you can't see it in that screenshot, though. I don't believe.
Were you able to compare the item number from this exhibit with the item number from the receipt, the Home Depot receipt?
Yes.
Are they consistent with each other?
Yes.
Sustained.
How did you compare those?
By researching and finding the SKU number associated with that bag.
Did you compare that to the receipt?
Yes, and that bag is
Sustained leading.
What was?
Well, he's explaining this is how we figured it out. SKU numbers, all the 9 yards. They have to back up what Kayla's telling them. That's the reason they had to keep her sober and off the met, if you know what I mean. Mary Fletcher said, I can fix him. Someone who wrote Teardrop a love letter, probably. I agree. How many women have we come across, let's just say on this channel, that are the I can fix him women or the pick me women? Pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. Even if you are the biggest piece of shit on this planet, just pick me. Just pick me. I'll love you. I'll love you right. I'll love you right out of all of your problems. No.
What's the result of that comparison?
Yes.
All right, so there is the investigator, detective, explaining the grinder, the lime, the blades, everything. Now, I am not trying to take hope away from anyone at all. At all. I just personally think it's going to be really hard to find Harmony. And I think that's why the Attorney General, DA, they all went forward and just saying, we don't have a body. I don't think we're going to get one, but we're going to move forward. And I'm not fretting anyone for trying, because this sticks out in my mind as well. This is when the maintenance man is talking about how he got called to the apartment where Harmony was dismembered and had to fix the tub. I don't want to put an image into your mind, but you can just imagine the hell. Also, I want to say this man seems like a really nice guy. A really nice guy. Imagine knowing when he's on that stand what he knows today. Bonafide took it out of my mouth. That poor maintenance man. What he knows today, what he knew on the stand, why he was there to snake that drain.
Sir,
Yep.
just turn your phone off.
Yep.
And I'll ask you to remove your glasses, please.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cloutier. As we're being recorded here today, would you please state your full name, spell both your first and your last name for the record, okay?
Dennis Timothy Cloutier, DennisCloutier.
And Mr. Cloutier, what town do you reside in?
Allstead, New Hampshire.
How long have you lived in New Hampshire?
Pretty much my whole life, but I moved away for a few years.
Okay. And what do you do for work?
I'm a maintenance man.
How long have you been doing maintenance?
25 years.
25 years. Let me ask you, are you familiar with an address called 644 Union Street?
Yes.
How are you familiar with that address? Could you tell the jury?
I contract for maintenance from the landlord, so I take care of it.
Okay. And when we talk about contract for maintenance, what kind of work do you do for him?
Paint the apartments when they're empty, fix things when they're broken.
Okay. What about when you say fix things that you've broken? Just thinking about all my contractors that I might have. Do you do plumbing?
Yeah, basic.
Electrical?
Yeah, outlets and such. Nothing more than that.
Okay. Are there sort of lights repairs? There's a hole in the wall or something like that?
Exactly.
Locks?
Locks.
Screen and doors?
Screen and doors.
Okay. And what about flooring?
Flooring, yeah.
Okay. And let me ask you, with regards to, I apologize. Also, do you do set up an apartment for when a new tenant's going to come in, or do you clean out apartments when old tenants move out?
Both.
You do both?
Yes.
All right. And how long have you been doing that at 644 Union Street?
2007.
Okay.
That's when the landlord purchased it.
And you're still doing it to this day?
Yep. Worked there this morning.
All right. I want to know, are you familiar with anybody by the name of Tara Hilbert at that address?
She doesn't live at that address, but she lives around the corner in another building that same landlord owns.
Okay. And do you ever interact with her with regards to doing these setups, clean outs, painting, things like that?
Yeah, every now and then we need her to transfer keys or drop off paperwork for a new tenant. If they're going to look at an apartment and no one's around, she'll open it for us, that sort of thing.
Okay. If I could approach the...
Yes, you may.
I want to show you what's been marked States Exhibit 136 and 137 for identification purposes only. Let me show you States 136 first. Do you recognize that photo?
I do.
All right, what do you recognize that to be a photo of?
The corner of Orange and Union Street.
And the building you told me about a moment ago, 644 Union Street, is that shown in that photo?
It is.
Is it labeled in that photo?
It is.
Okay. And what does the label look like, just to tell our jurors?
What, the red little icon?
A red icon, okay. And let me also show you States Exhibit 137, again, for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that image?
Same property.
Same property?
Correct.
I believe you said before that Ms. Hilbert was living in an adjacent property?
Correct. She lives in this building.
Okay. And by that, you're pointing to a building on
137 Orange Street.
137, okay.
Correct.
And with regards to these two particular photos, other than the fact that obviously they got a little red sticker down here on the bottom right and they were come off of Google, other than that, do they look to be accurate for the building that you service? And
Correct. Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask the identification be stricken on States 136 and 137, please.
No objection. All right, the ID is stricken. They're entered as full exhibits.
Well, good morning, Susan. How are you today? I can't hear you.
I'm good. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Everyone say hi to Susan. She has worked so hard on this case. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not fretting anyone for continuing the search. And this is just opinion only. We lost Susan. She'll be back.
So, Mr. Goody, I want to ask you specifically about one other individual besides Ms. Hilbert, and that is showing you State's Exhibit 101. Do you recognize this person?
Adam Montgomery.
Have you interacted with Adam Montgomery before?
I have.
And was he, did you ever service the unit that he was staying in at 644 Union Street?
I did.
Well, when you met him, did you meet him in person or over
In
the
person
phone?
in his apartment.
And how many times would you say? More than once?
I think I was in there twice.
Twice. Okay. Let me ask you, did you ever have a maintenance request for that particular property back on February 27th of 2020?
I did.
Okay. And when you...
Okay, this is haunting. But I've got Susan in the hot seat, and this is only your opinion. Do you think they will ever find Harmony?
Unfortunately, I don't believe they will. Adam's smart. He's cunning. And he's not going to get caught if he don't have to get caught.
Yep, I agree with you.
And I don't think he's telling anybody anything because he's got an appeal. And he's holding on to that hope. And plus, he's trying to punish Krista for being Harmony's mom.
Yep.
He is so gross.
He is. It's horrible. It's disgusting behavior. And he's crazy if he thinks he's going to win any appeal.
Oh, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to wear the label of a child murderer. He's gonna deny that till he goes to hell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they do to guys that hurt children?
Oh, yeah, they do.
He has plausible deniability.
No, you're exactly right. Exactly right. And that's one thing. We talked about polyclass. And even though the man that took her out of this world would admit to murder, he wouldn't admit to any essay or anything. Now, I'm not saying Adam to Harmony. And he flat out said to the detective, because then I'll be a dead man walking in jail. He already knew. And the detective said to him, you're already a dead man walking, because they have a certain code when you're in the big house. They do not, they don't buddy up to child murderers. A murder is one thing.
And no protection whatsoever.
Nope. Not at all.
And I think it's good. He needs justice. He ain't getting it. Even with the conviction, he has got the gall to sit up there and lie. I can't with him.
He wouldn't even go to the trial.
Mm-mm.
They had to drag his ass in for sentencing.
Yep. That ticked me off more than you'll ever know. His rights. What about Harmony's rights?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Her little face just got me, and she just tears my heart out.
That's why I warned you yesterday. I said, are you going to be ready for this tomorrow?
Yep. I don't know if ever ready is the word, but I'm here for her.
You have a maintenance request. What sort of paperwork gets generated from when you do service on a unit?
Well, the way it works is everything is pretty much a verbal agreement. And then when the job is performed, we hand the landlord a bill. And there's a record of that.
So the record of that.
It's all invoices.
That was going to be my question, the invoice.
Yes.
Could you describe to the jury what those invoices look like?
They're triple carbon. You know, the white, the pink, and the yellow.
So 3 different copies.
Yes.
Fill it out one time.
That's it. Yep.
Okay, so people that are asking about how did they prove the dismembering story, this man in maintenance can prove it because he had to go snake the drain that day. Now, we were not prepared for that, were we, Susan?
No, we weren't. I can't imagine. And you also have Caleb's testimony to that.
Uh-huh. And I mean, and I get it when people say, but she lies about everything. That's the reason everything has to be backed up with evidence.
And she knew she was facing a long prison sentence if she lied.
And I agree with Gaelic. His last FU to the world is going to be to keep playing mind games.
Yep. Because it's all about Adam and his rights. Nobody's going to trample on his rights.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with Retro Girl. This case is as dark as it gets. That's why I say, well, often on this channel, not every day. I'm just like, look, nobody needs any drama because look at what we're talking about. It's not any more dramatic than this.
Exactly. And it's just, he is just so nasty.
Yep. Correct.
Let's go ahead and do you recognize that?
I do.
All right. What kind of document is that?
That's one of my invoices.
When you said before you got the white and the white, pink, green.
Yeah, no, white, pink, and yellow.
White, pink, yellow. So this is the bottom copy.
Correct.
Okay. And for that particular invoice, you just told us a moment ago about doing some work on February 27th. Is that the invoice from that day?
It is.
And other than the fact that there's a red stick on it, any changes to that from when you remember turning that copy in?
Not at all.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the identification be stricken from State's Exhibit 70, please.
An objection?
No objection.
All right, the ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit. It may be published to the jury if you wish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cludier, I want to ask you just a couple of quick questions about the job that you did on this day. Specifically, from going through, we'll have an opportunity to look at this more later on. What kind of work did you do for that? I'm going to leave it there in case you have to refer to it, but what kind of work did you do at that time?
Oh, the guy called about his tub not draining. I knocked on his door. I met him in the kitchen.
Now, why would his tub not drain?
Yeah, why indeed?
Need we ask?
No. Monster.
Need we even ask?
Just so
Went
nauseating.
around to the bathroom. Noticed that the overflow plate where the drain lever is was missing a screw turned sideways. And he said the drain did not drain.
Right.
So I removed the rest of it, went down to the truck, got a snake, snaked out the drain, discovered that he had dislodged the actual plunger that hooks to the lever. So that was stuck down in the drain. So I removed that completely, went back to the truck, grabbed a brand new plate that doesn't have a lever hookup, and he just didn't get a lever.
Okay, do you know how hard this would be to do? If you wanted to go into your bathtub right now and do this damage, it would be almost impossible. You see, he had a lot going on that day. He had a lot going on. I'm sure your husband can tell you, Susan, because when my husband was going through this, he was like, how the hell did he break that plate and lever? What the hell?
Well, it's 2 screws, and then you gotta dish it out. It's like on a rod, and it's weighted. And he messed it up. It's not easy.
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. When I go to take a bubble bath, I just hit the lever, fill up the water, and jump in. It's almost impossible to break those. But he had stuff going on that day.
Okay. You see what I mean? And I just put a blank plate on that so it could at least overflow water. and that was that. So I snaked the drain and replaced the plate.
Sounds like it was, would you say that that was a fairly easy repair that day?
Yeah, I was in and out of there in maybe 35 minutes.
Okay. While you were there, did you see anybody else inside the apartment?
Yes, I think the woman, Kayla.
Okay.
And some children were on the couch.
Okay. And the children, you said that they were on the couch. Let me ask you, the size of the bathroom in that particular apartment, how big are we talking, or how
Really
small?
small.
Really small.
Really small.
Okay.
Like a galley bathroom.
Okay. I see what you mean. So if I come through the door of the bathroom,
if someone's standing behind the door of the bathroom, it won't open.
Okay.
It's a small bathroom.
Right. The plate that you said was off.
It wasn't completely off. It was missing a screw. It was hanging sideways. It takes two screws. If you remove one, it's going to rotate over sideways.
So when it was rotated over sideways, could you see kind of down back into where that overflow drain was?
Yeah, that's the point. That's where you enter the snake when you snake out a bathtub. You remove the overflow plate.
Okay.
So.
And you're not about to say when, excuse me, let me back up a little bit. Having one screw on an overflow plate, that's not a way that you would typically leave an apartment when you go to get it ready for a new tenant. Am I right in saying that?
No.
All right. With regards to when you're doing this repair, where is Adam Montgomery?
Right outside the bathroom door.
Okay. And are you guys talking at all during that time?
Not really. He's doing more pacing than talking. So.
More.
Yeah.
Okay. So Teardrop is outside the door while he's doing this repair and he's pacing. Does anyone in here, I'll start with Susan, think that Teardrop is the type of dude that's worried about his plumbing, especially when someone else is fixing it? Was he really itching to take a bath?
Oh, no. He was afraid he was going to find evidence.
Yep. He was probably so worried that maintenance man was going to snake something out of there. Hence why they were down in the manholes.
Yeah.
They found biological evidence down there. That biological evidence was Harmony.
I didn't think they found anything down there.
That's just what they said, that they had found biological evidence. But
Well, then I'm going to say, yeah, they did then. I just didn't think they had.
Yeah, he was just kind of waiting for us to finish.
With regards to that particular apartment, I'm going to grab that invoice back for a second.
Okay, so he's guilt pacing outside the door while the maintenance man is in there, snaking the drain, fixing the lever and everything. Again, what is Teardrop so invested in that he's got to stand outside like a nervous father is be like that? Want him to hurry up and everything like that. Getting that P-trap fixed, snaking it, doing all that stuff. I think it's because he was afraid they were going to pull something up. I can't hear you, Susan.
That would be my guess.
After this time period, were you ever called to go back there to do other sorts of maintenance repairs?
I think I had to go back one more time to fix some lights on the ceiling.
Lights on the ceiling?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that trip?
They were just popped off the ceiling. They were hanging by the wires.
Literally
Yeah.
off the ceiling.
Yeah. The wires weren't disconnected. I mean, a light isn't heavy. The lights we use are real light. They'll hang by the wires and still work, but they were hanging by the wires. So put them back up.
Any idea how those lights got pulled down? Excuse me. I'll withdraw the question and I'll rephrase. With regards to those lights, did Adam Montgomery tell you how they got pulled down?
He said he took them down because he thought there were cameras in them.
So they had to go and fix the lighting because Teardrop jerked him down, the genius that he is, because he's going through some paranoia for obvious reasons, saying that he thought there were cameras in it. Now, it's safe to say that Teardrop wasn't pacing back and forth while he was repairing the lights, the maintenance man. But he
No,
was.
I doubt it. I
Go
doubt
ahead.
it very seriously. I doubt that he was.
No, but he's paranoid with good reason for what he was going to pull out of that bathtub.
Oh yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if he was snaking it and all of a sudden a pool of blood came up?
Oh, I don't even want to think about that.
A chunk of skin?
Oh,
That's what he was worried about.
yeah.
That's the reason he kept talking about using those. He had the grinder, but he was wanting to use that mixer.
The bullet. Yeah. The bullet.
Yeah, the bullet mixer to chop things up. And Kayla sat there for the whole thing until they got caught.
Yeah, she wasn't too concerned.
With regards to other electrical work, did you do any other kind of electrical work on that unit while he was residing there?
I had to replace the thermostat.
You had to replace the thermostat.
Correct.
Okay. Any other electrical repairs that you know?
No, that's it.
And let me ask, when you later on that particular apartment, when you do clean outs, could you describe for us what you do in the apartment for a clean out?
Throw everything in bags and bring it to the dump. Rip the carpets out and bring those to the dump.
Okay. Do you remember doing a clean out of this particular apartment after the Montgomerys left?
I do.
All right, so we got the gist of that. Everybody except for the maintenance man and the woman that used to take step meth and teardrop to the methadone clinic failed Harmony. Name me one person in her circle that didn't fail her. Name me one.
The foster mom, to be fair.
The foster mom. Yep.
Everybody else, I don't give a shit.
Nope.
They're all crumbs.
And this is how far-reaching evil is. Evil doesn't just affect the victim. That's why I get so mad on shows. We've had some shows where people are saying Brandy and Tyler are not victims. How can they not be victims? That the only victim is Michael Vaughn. Okay, listen. When evil attacks, it affects more than just the victim. Now, obviously, Harmony had it worse than everybody. Now, I'm not going to say Grandma or Uncle Kenny are victims, okay? I'm not going to say that. But there's two gentlemen that wanted to adopt Harmony. Crystal dropped the ball on that. She could have been in court that day, and she could have spoke up about how Adam really is. She didn't care.
Absolutely heartbreaking to think about everything that sweet child went through. And what's more is that there was a safe and loving family who wanted to adopt her. Joining me in the studio, a very special guest. I'm so pleased to call him my friend, my colleague, Blair Miller. Blair, thank you for being here in the studio with us. And I know this time isn't easy, and I truly can't say enough wonderful things about you personally and professionally. And our viewing audience has come to somewhat hear about your story. You've been on with us before, but I want to make this crystal clear that you and your husband, Jonathan, were willing to adopt Harmony along with her brother, Jameson, who you have adopted. What happened with Harmony? Why weren't you able to, Blair?
So when we went through the adoption process with Jameson, our third and youngest son, we instantly heard that he had a sister. And one of our first questions was, what's that situation? What are we looking at adopting 2 more children here? Or what's the situation? We were instantly told that he did have a sister. And we were told by him he had a sister. And they were very close. They were in foster care together, in and out of foster homes. And we were immediately told by the state of Massachusetts that Harmony had that situation had already been taken care of. She had been reunified with her father, who was a different father.
Okay, and I can tell you right now, that's probably how the conversation went. Because for one, Blair is not a liar, but the way they speak, oh, that situation's already been taken care of. Now, I don't want to get Susan's blood pressure up, but can you imagine calling Harmony a situation? I can't hear you, Susan.
I said it's disgusting.
It is disgusting. And here these men are willing to adopt both. Jameson, by the way, is thriving. Thriving. Harmony could have been thriving too. But Adam wanted those food stamps more than a safe, loving home for Harmony. And well, we know why we're here.
Father and what Jameson has biologically. And so we were told that was not an option. We continued to ask, what's that situation? Because it's important to Jameson. It was important to him. And so therefore it was important to us. And we had always said, if that door is open, we want to walk through it and figure out what's going on. Of course, now we hear everything. It's painful to hear it.
Oh, Blair, I can't even imagine. I've been saying the heartbreak, I'm sure you, your husband, Jonathan, feels, your boys, you and Jonathan, I say they're like angels on earth. They really are. They've adopted 3 beautiful little boys, all from different families. Jameson is the youngest. I mean, you have saved Jameson's life. And I think what is so tragic about this, you and Jonathan wanted to save Harmony's too, had it not been for Adam Montgomery asserting his parental rights.
Sure, and the timing here was, pretty unique because Harmony had already been reunified with her father back in February. And we adopted Jameson officially in August of that same year. And we look at the timeline of everything. When we officially did his adoption in court.
Okay, now I want you to understand the timeline because time is super, super important. Adam had reunified with Harmony in February. They adopted Jameson in August. So Crystal's timeline makes no sense. Can't hear you, Susan.
And then his birthday was right after that. It was all around Thanksgiving, when now we know what was happening to Sweet Harmony. And it is so very painful to know that we were celebrating Jameson's 3rd birthday the same weekend that she was killed in the backseat of that car. And that is a tough reality.
How much does Jameson know about the reality?
He's 7 and, but like I said, from day one, he has always said he has a sister. He will say now he has a sister. He loves to tell everyone about his family. In fact, we showed this picture here.
Blair, that drawing,
Look at his family. That's his picture. You've got some kitty cats, his brothers, his fathers, and then in the sky is a heart with an H in it because he says, I have a sister. Goodness. And someday he'll be mature enough to go through all this and realize.
At least they'll have the tools to cope with it. They have the therapy, I believe.
Yep.
This has some significance, doesn't it?
And this was just last week or the week before. He came home and showed Jonathan, my husband, what he made at school. And he's got his 2 dads there, his 2 brothers there.
I know
his
this
2
is hard
dogs,
for you. I know.
He has that heart right there with the H in it.
Up at the top.
Yeah. For Harmony.
Because she's an angel. Is that why? Because it's like the heart was raised above.
Yes. And as the search unfolded, we were very involved in trying to get answers. Even before she was officially missing, we were trying to press for answers and trying to figure out what was going on because we knew behind the scenes something was wrong. We weren't sure to what extent.
Right.
And really for Jameson, we wanted to bridge that relationship together. We wanted sibling visitations because it was important to him. It's important to us. And so we got to a point where we really need to, we've been very public about this because we wanted to bring attention to finding harmony. We still want that to happen.
Right.
And we got to a point where we needed to tell Jameson that something is, Harmony's not here anymore and she's in heaven. And the moment we did, and Jameson, he is a very wild little boy, as they should be. And it was one of the first times he just sat and collapsed in our arms and just sat there. And we said, she's in heaven. And he just wanted to know. And one of the first things he said is, what happened to her and who hurt her, which is very profound for a 6-year-old, 7-year-old at the time. And so now we, she is part of.
Okay, I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together. But the judge, wow, they're there and they're signing adoption paperwork. Crystal's not there, by the way. She lied. That looks like the same judge that wrote the book. Are you seeing that, Susan?
Yes, it does look like her.
Let's look at this again. I think it's the same judge that wrote the book. Yep, that's her.
Yep, that's her.
Yep, that's her.
And who don't you see in that picture?
Crystal.
Yeah. I hope she's clean, but her hands aren't.
What a great saying. I hope she's clean because her hands aren't.
It's heartbreaking to me how you could fail at this epic level and then lie to try to make yourself look better. Accountability. That's all I'm saying. I could forgive a lot if she would take some damn accountability.
She lied all over the place to where the governor's report came out and showed she lied.
Yep.
Remember our first shows that we did about Harmony? And the head petters were in here, or the people who like their heads petted were in here, lecturing us on, give her a chance, give her a chance, give her a chance. She's this, she's that. It's like, calm down.
You know what I said to that? Where was Harmony's chance? She failed her first.
Exactly right. What did OJ?
6-year-old, 7-year-old at the time. And so now we, she is part of our conversation. And this was when he actually adopted him.
Zeke and Cash
and Judge Erskine there who did our adoption. And this was a special day for us. And Jameson had already been through a lot of trauma in his life, in and out of a lot of different foster homes. And he had came to us with all his belongings in a trash bag. He had already been through too much. And now this is part of his story, and it's our job to figure out how to protect him, but also help him and us as a family work through some of this.
Right. Blair, I have loved for years, before I even knew you personally, and just admired your work as a journalist.
Okay, so Blair, who is one of the adoptive fathers of Jameson and other children. You see, people like him don't associate with people like Teardrop or Stepmeth. They don't associate with people like Dawn and Candace Wells. They don't associate with people like Stacey Wandra. They don't. You're not going to bring these people down to the police station and get nothing less than the truth. That's the difference.
Yes.
Society. That's the reason some people call it the haves and the have-nots. No, it's criminals.
Yep.
Night Owl said the judge that gave Harmony to Adam was not the same judge. That's true. Thank you for clarifying that. You're right. The court was the same day Crystal went to the adoption hearing instead of going to Harmony's hearing. Well,
according to the timeline, that's not true.
According to the timeline, that's not true. And according to the adoptive fathers, she was not there and wasn't required to be there. So that's something very important to note. I wasn't there. I don't know Crystal, but I believe the men that were there and the judge that were signing the adoption paperwork know what they're talking about. But we all bought it hook, line, and sinker that it was in 2 different courthouses and nobody would help her. So we know for a fact she could have been at Harmony's. Go ahead, Susan. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm just going to say it's changing the timeline so she doesn't have to deal with any of that fallout.
I don't get her thinking. And I know that she has some lawsuits that are supposed to be going forward. That money needs to go to Jameson.
Yes, I agree. She has no right to it. But she'll get it. You know she'll get it.
She'll get something. She'll get something, but it needs to go to Jameson.
Yep, because he's the one that sounded the alarm.
He's the one that saved Harmony. I can't say saved. Nobody would know about Harmony without Jameson.
Exactly.
It's the truth, really. I was a big fan of yours, journalistically for many years before I had the pleasure of getting to know you personally. And I know that you do things to mark special occasions like Harmony's birthday in June, don't you? You mark the occasion with your kids.
Yeah, and this is really led by my husband, Jonathan, who is the heart of our family. And so every year on our birthday, we do celebrate, and that's what these pictures are here. And we have a birthday cake. We maybe get some flowers or balloons. One year we let balloons go for one for each of her years. And each of our boys let them go into the sky. Going to heaven is what he wanted to do. And then one time when we were living up in DC, he said, let's get some flowers and throw them in the Potomac River. And then they will reach his sister in heaven.
That's right.
So we try to make it part of, that conversation, his life, because the last thing we want him to do is wake up when he's 15, 16 years old and think, what's happened in my life?
Right.
And what have my dads done or not done? And that is our motivation every single day is, what are we doing to help him deal with this awful situation? So we do make it part of, every year we do celebrate that. And as painful as it is, I think there is some bit of healing for him, for us, for our other 2 boys. How do they talk to their brother about it?
Right.
And just this week, we're having some of those same conversations at home.
Oh, I know you are. Gosh, Blair, when Jameson talks about Harmony, I would imagine he's got some memories of her, right? That he really does remember being with her. What does he share?
He talks a lot. It used to be we'd be at a park and he'd see a little girl with blonde hair and might remind him of her, her blue eyes. He will talk about. And he will just say how much he loves her.
Oh.
And we've heard a lot of stories about the role that Harmony played with Jameson when they were in foster care together. We heard this yesterday in court. And as special as that is, it's also really hard to hear because this was a little girl that was protecting him. And now we're constantly asking ourselves who was protecting her. No one was.
You're right.
No one. And it is so sad. It is so heartbreaking, but it makes everyone so angry.
Yes.
And that's the hard part about it.
Yes. Well, might I just say, to answer that question that you said Jameson may have about what have his dads done, truly the answer is his dads have made our world a better place. You and Jonathan really have, Blair.
Yeah, people say that, and it's kind of you say that, but they make our world a better place. And these 3 boys, all of them have a very unique story, and they're true blessings. This morning I dropped them off for school before I came here, and all parents know this. When you drop your kids off, they go out in the world and you think, oh gosh, I hope they're going to be okay. And just looking at Jameson today, with everything that's going on, the heavy stuff that's happening, you think, gosh, I hope he's going to be okay. Not just today, but later when he realizes a lot of this stuff.
God love them. God love them. They're good parents. And this is heartbreaking.
You know, and what a statement.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't make their lives better. They made our lives better. I mean, who couldn't agree more with that? With, you know, children and grandchildren, even the fake Bombay over there. Who couldn't? What the hell is wrong with these people?
I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. There's no moral compass with these people. None.
That's a moral compass. You're right. And in a way, it's almost like, you know, Harmony took what happened to her, to save Jameson. Get your ass down. Get down, OJ. Let's take a minute to remember Harmony, okay? And I'm going to collect myself.
Her little face.
Her little face, her little glasses, her little goofy expressions.
Her little crooked grin. God. I don't understand people. How could you hurt her?
How can you sit there waiting to get your Burger King while Teardrop with a closed fist hits her over and over and acts like he just spilled a glass of water? I think I did something this time. That's what he said. I think I did something this time.
And then turn around and feed the baby. You know she was whimpering. My God, these people are monsters. I don't understand.
And I know this case has taken a big toll on you, and you've done such amazing work.
Well, I'll applaud you because I wouldn't even know about it if it weren't for this channel.
Well, I wouldn't know about it without Google searches. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And the sad fact of the matter is he made a conscious decision that day to end what would have been. But
even if he lost control, he could have stopped and got her help. But no, not him. No accountability for Adam. I can't stand that man. God help me.
And considering his actions in jail, the fact that he wouldn't even go to the court hearing, he sat there for the gun thing, but he wouldn't go for Harmony. He'll get his justice in hell.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's where it's headed.
That's where he's going to get it. Well, you all, I know this has been a really, really tough show, and it's going to be hot as Hades out today. What's your weather going to be today, Suze?
We're under a heat advisory. Woo. It was like 110 with the heat indices yesterday.
Yep. That was me yesterday. I went outside to water. I jumped in the pool, and I'm like, well, hell, I might as well have brought a damn washcloth because it feels like I'm taking a bath.
Yep. Walk outside and it hits you in the face.
It does. You know, and I didn't water this morning, so I have to do it now. And it's ridiculous. And there's terrible storms going through Tennessee. I'm like, why don't you send that west?
Yeah.
Because All right, y'all, if I don't get to chat with you, whether it be by phone, if you're watching this on the replay, leave me a comment. I want to know what you're thinking. And I will see you over in Discord or one of the Facebook groups. I think we can get a Discord general going today and, discuss the show and see, what everyone thinks. You guys are the absolute best. And Susan, I love you to death, my friend. And I appreciate all of your hard work for all of these children, for this channel, for your friends, for your family. You are one in a million. And I mean that.
I love you, girl. Y'all have a good day. I'll see you over in Discord.
All right.
Bye.
And if we miss you over there, we'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to have a pre-sentencing show with Corey Michelo's grandmother, because his father, so-called father, is getting sentenced on Friday. So we will see you when we see you. You guys are the best.